Welcome to another edition of From the Frontlines. I'm joined today by Stacy Pratt. She's the substitute teacher coordinator at Westfield Washington Schools. Hi, Stacy.
Hi.
So we've been working so hard to keep schools open, and I would imagine the biggest challenge to doing that is keeping our teachers healthy and in the classroom. Talk about the challenges you've been up against so far this year.
Well, I think that the biggest challenge that we've been facing, and I would imagine this is pretty common in other districts as well, schools are taking extraordinary precautions to make sure that people aren't coming to work when they've been a potential close contact or if they're having COVID-related symptoms. So I think for us, what I've noticed is, when a teacher is asked to quarantine because maybe they've been a close contact of someone, that person is then required to step out of the classroom for 2 weeks. And so, where we might have had a, 1 or 2 day absence in the past to cover for a teacher for some reason, now we're looking at extended periods of time that we have to cover absences for multiple teachers in the district.
I imagine it's a challenge to recruit substitutes in a normal year, let alone in the midst of a pandemic. Are you finding the help you need?
Surprisingly, yes. We've been very fortunate and in that we've had quite a few new substitutes apply. I would say in an average week, I've been meeting with probably 5 to 8 subs a week who are willing to come in at this time. Now that we still have a healthy size sub pool from our previous year, but the difference this year is the number of subs who are actually working. We have probably a little over a third of our subs from our sub pool who are actively working this year. So we're working with a smaller pool than we normally would in a typical year, but thankfully we are still continuing to get new candidates in who are interested in subbing.
So you're only working with a third. Is that because presumably 2/3 of them just don't feel comfortable teaching in the COVID environment?
Correct. I sent a survey out to our subs early in the year, the ones that had not been working yet, just to follow up. Sometimes in subbing, it's kind of a natural flow where people, are only here for a short while, maybe in between jobs, or they secure a full-time job somewhere else. But this year, by and large, people said, we love subbing and we enjoy it, but either because of our age or we're caring for someone who's immunocompromised, we just don't feel comfortable this year.
Tell me about some of the people who you've got now recruited as substitutes, because I thought it was pretty interesting, the diversity of people that are working in the classroom these days.
A very diverse group. So we are getting a lot of college students who are interested in subbing when they're home from school, and especially with the virtual schedules that a lot of college students have this year. They're home for longer windows of time and they're willing to come in and help. So we're looking forward to getting them back in the routine. We have a lot of parents who in a typical year would be actively involved in volunteering in their children's schools. And those things just aren't happening this year. So this is a way, I've had parents, who have been PTO vice presidents for 3 years who look at this as their way of giving back to their schools and their community. And, I think one thing that parents have learned over the last, 7 or 8 months is how much they value what a teacher does during the day. And they see this as a way that they can give back to the teachers and the schools by subbing. We have professional people who have a more flexible work environment because they're doing a lot of their job virtually. So they have time during the day where they can help sub. We have a local veterinarian who has Wednesdays off, and he has been coming in every Wednesday to sub in our schools. So it's been really neat to see the different people who've been willing to step in and help in this time.
That's really interesting. I mean, you've got some real professionals who might actually also be able to lend a little bit of expertise from out in the field.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do when you don't have enough subs to fill in?
So schools have several different approaches. Every building has a building secretary who's kind of the coordinator for subs within that building. And a lot of days, it's like putting the pieces of a puzzle together. So the first thing they're usually going to try to do if a position is unfilled is they'll look at what subs they already have in place in the building. And maybe when that sub would have a prep period, they'll pull them in another class to help cover. We rely on our instructional assistants to help a lot. Administrators will step in when needed. And We've also been reaching out. Our HR director just came to an agreement with our teacher union, and beginning Monday, we are going to offer a stipend to our contracted teachers. If they are willing to cover a classroom on their prep period, they will receive a stipend for that. So, we know we don't want to ask a lot of extra favors from our teachers right now, but we just thought this would be a way for people who are interested in volunteering to be, rewarded for that, because we appreciate their help too.
So if you're interested in helping out, you want to be a substitute, how do you apply? How do you get more information?
So you can go to our website, our Westfield Washington Schools website, and under Human Resources, there's a tab about substitute teaching, and there's an application link. The first step would be completing an online application. Once I receive and review an application, I follow up with the next steps. But really, if you have a heart for working with kids and, you enjoy seeing them succeed and helping them out, have a positive attitude, kind, caring, sense of humor, patience. Those are all all attributes of a successful sub. And, we'd love to meet people who are interested in doing that.
I think some people assume that there must be a need for an educational background. Like what's the qualification to be a sub?
So in our district, our qualification is that you are a high school graduate, and you need to clear an extended background check that we give you the information to submit, and you're required to have a substitute teacher permit from the state of Indiana. And so, that's something that once we agree to bring you in and to meet with us, we provide everybody with the information about the background check and the sub permit.
Okay.
And then I meet with everybody one-on-one and do a brief orientation with them, and then launch them out into the schools.
Stacy Pratt, Substitute Teacher Coordinator for Westfield Washington Schools. Good luck to you in the coming weeks.
Thank you so much.